How to make maple syrup in your own backyard, or front yard, whatever the case may be. Well, everybody knows when winter's over and the temperature is about 40 degrees during the day and below freezing at night, it's time to tap your maple trees. And why is this? Well, scientists seem to have quite a good bit to say on this matter. It goes something like this. Blah 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 sapwood, blah 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 xylem, phloem, blah blah ray cells, blah 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 starches, blah blah enzymes, blah 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 carbon dioxide, blah blah osmotic pressure, night, blah blah blah, water drawn up through the soil again, blah blah blah, etc. Right, sure it does. You know what we say to that?
Who's ready to tap another tree?
Me!
Come on, let's go. Oh, thanks, Steve.
Tap on the tree!
He's gonna tap on a tree.
It's a lot of fun, and it's really quite easy. The whole process from picking the right tree and getting your sap buckets and making the syrup, it's something you can do with your family and friends when winter's almost over and it's starting to be mud season. This is a birch tree. Birch sap makes a yummy sort of syrup like Karo syrup, certainly not mapley, and this points out the importance of identifying your trees beforehand. It's a lot of fun and much easier to identify trees while the leaves are still on them. And if you accidentally tap a truffula tree, a little guy with a big mustache might get quite mad at you. Now, I know it's really cool to get out there and use an old-fashioned hand crank drill, but I think it's important to get the most modern, up-to-date equipment. The next most important thing to have is taps. There are lots of different taps available, and some people like to call them spiles or spigots. Just call it a tap, and you don't need a big wooden one or a big metal one. Just get these small 5/16 of an inch or 19/16 plastic ones. They work great, and they really don't hurt the tree. Next, you need your collecting system. I think like an old milk bottle or water bottle seems to work great. Cut a little hole in the top, just big enough to let your tap in. You can cut it on the flat side or right on the angle on the corner. You'll find which way works best for you. And keep the lid, and this is easy to store in the refrigerator if you're not ready to boil it on that same day. Some people use special new plastic bags to collect sap, and maybe that keeps the bugs out better. I don't know. And then you have to find the right tree. Well, the scientists have a lot to say about this, too. It goes something like, thou shalt find a tree that is at least 10 inches in diameter, measuring at 4.5 feet above the ground before tapping. Trees between 10 and 20 inches in diameter should have no more than one tap per tree. A second tap may be added. Trees between 20 and 25 inches in diameter, trees over 25 inches in diameter can sustain 3 taps. Under no circumstances shalt thou ever insert more than 3 taps. Trees are our very, very special friends. They're beautiful creatures.
You try to do it too.
If you're like us, you don't want more than 2 or 3 gallons of sap a day anyway. And I know the experts say put the tap in on the sunny side, or the dark side, or the north side, or over a big root. You know what? Just put one tap in anywhere you're going to have plenty of sap. Get a nice sharp 5/16 of an inch drill. You have to drill about 1.5 inches deep into good wood, so if it's thick bark, plan a little deeper. Drill slightly uphill so the sap can run down into your bucket or your milk carton, and don't drill too close to last year's holes. You should drill at least 6 inches away sideways from last year's holes, and at least 2 feet above or below old holes. The tap holes do cover over by late summer with new bark, but you have to think it is some sort of an insult to the poor tree. And if you look at old maples cut sideways, you can see the black tap holes running all the way through the whole tree. Now just gently tap on your plastic tap until it's just tight enough so that you can't pull it up by hand. And if it's a nice warm day, that sap will start pouring out.
That's good.
And a nice warm day like this, you might fill 2 or 3 or even 4 milk jugs. Yummy.
That's crazy sweet. Oh, this is the most.
And now, let's make some maple syrup. I know sugar shacks are truly awesome. We love going to Maple Sunday festivities every year. Some people think you have to have your own evaporator unit to make maple syrup, or an outdoor gas range, or an outdoor fireplace. The sap flows so fast this time of year, it's easy to get a gallon or so in no time, and we just bring it in the house and boil it in there, 1 or 2 gallons at a time. At this time, the sap is so clear it's like a mountain spring. After a while, you might start getting some bugs in it, though, when it warms up, and then you'll probably want to filter it. You can use cheesecloth or coffee filters or even a special kind of wool you get from maple syrup supply places. We really don't bother filtering it at this time of year. Just show me the saddle, show me the stirrup, and all that. Well, it takes about 1.5 hours to boil this gallon down to syrup. Let's start with 1 gallon of sap, and you can start with the temperature on pretty high. I set the timer for about an hour on that initial boiling, and in an hour's time it's boiled down to less than half its original size. Does it make things pretty steamy in your house? Yes, it does. But Who doesn't love that smell of maple syrup boiling? And also, couldn't we all use more humidity in our winter air? You can see it's already starting to get some color in it, but it's still just as thin as water. And it's still a good idea, although you can wander around the house a little, don't get too far. And now, though, it's time to turn down the heat, and also keep setting your timer. Let's set it for smaller and smaller intervals, about 10 minutes maybe, even less to start. Because I guarantee you, everybody's going to burn a pot of maple syrup and everybody will be sad about it. Now you want to stay even closer nearby, maybe only 1 or 2 rooms away. Keep a close eye on it, stir it from time to time, so you can notice when it starts getting a little bit thicker. I like to stir it with a flat wooden spoon. I think maybe that helps it evaporate a little bit faster. Now an hour and 20 minutes into it, you can see that it's getting a little bit darker. And I think you can notice it starts to look a little different the way it boils. You've heard of go time? Well, this is don't go time. If you go now, you lose. There's nothing worse than turning beautiful sap into a rock-hard goo or burnt sugar. If you're like me, even though you're standing right there, you're going to want to keep setting that timer. Set it for 3 minutes at a time or 2 minutes at a time. Because otherwise you'll find that you just phase out. You turn around and get a glass of water, you wash one dish, whatever you do, boom, it's too late and it's gone too far. You really don't even have time to hit the bathroom at this point. Just stay right there, keep looking, I'll show you the last few minutes. Here you can notice it's just starting to get a little bit thicker than water. No big change yet. Here, a few minutes later, it pours even a little thicker coming out of the spoon. Still not quite ready yet. You'll notice the difference. Just give it a few more minutes on the timer. Now it might seem a little subtle, but you can notice the difference in the way it's boiling, the way it pours off the spoon. Now it looks like hot warmed maple syrup that you get at Pancake House. It's not going to be thick like it is out of the refrigerator now, but that syrup's done. Turn it off, get it off the fire.
Was ist los mit dir, mein Schatz? Geht nur immer du mag ab? Geht nur das, was du verstehst? This is what you got to know. Not you know it didn't show. Ich lieb dich nicht, du liebst mich nicht. 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 Da, da, da. 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 Ich lieb dich nicht, du liebst mich nicht. Da, da, da. Da, 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 ich lieb dich nicht, du liebst mich nicht. Aha. 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 Ah. Now sit on down, y'all. I have you all a song. Sit down and listen. No part of it's a fraud. It's on how you'll tap a maple tree in the middle of March. And when your feet get cold, sit down on that porch. Well, how you do it now, that's the hard part. But you don't have to plan all year and look at the chart. Good Zeus, that's what I say. Now get up everybody and we will show you the way. Oh, syrup is delicious, that's a true fact. You can pour it on pancakes brought up in a stack. What you need is a sap and a pan. You don't need a sugar shack making maple candy. But the one thing to know is to watch it in a boil. You don't want to burn it, then it will be spoiled. That's what you do when you tap the sap. Now everybody knows this is
The maple leaf
da
rap.
da 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 da. Yo, this is for you, Scott Joplin. Gonna have me some pancakes, hotcakes, the short stack, flapjacks, waffles, grits, fried grits. Every day, but